Hello everyone, Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching. I have another Monday quarterback video for you. I'm going to play this video, pause intermittently here and there to talk about things that are going on to better explain what's going on, and talk about things that I think that are being done right and or done wrong. Without further ado, here we go.
This following
And we'll skip.
video multiple we do not draw see may be disturbing. When a law enforcement it can be graphic and difficult to watch. Viewer discretion is advised. On Saturday, September 11th, 2021, at approximately 1 p.m., deputies assigned to Lancaster Sheriff Station responded to the Lancaster National Soccer Center, located at 43,000 30th Street East in the city of Lancaster, regarding a vehicle theft call. Upon arriving, the victim, a 20-year-old woman, indicated she was involved in a one-week dating relationship with 29-year-old Edwin Pizarro. She reported that while at the soccer center, she began arguing with Pizarro. Pizarro physically assaulted her, forcefully took her car keys and cell phone, and fled the scene in his white Chevy Tahoe. He later returned on foot and stole the victim's vehicle from the parking lot. Responding deputies documented the incident in a police report. Several hours later, deputies located Pizarro, seated inside his white Chevy Tahoe, parked on the side of the road near the area of 42nd Street West and Avenue L in the city of Lancaster. Deputies conducted a traffic stop to detain Pizarro. When deputies exited their vehicle, Pizarro accelerated away from them at a high rate of speed. Deputies pursued Pizarro for approximately 9 miles. As a result of Pizarro's dangerous driving movements, the pursuit was terminated southbound on the 14 freeway at the Palmdale Boulevard exit. As the vehicle pursuit terminated, a sheriff's helicopter arrived overhead, and California Highway Patrol units continued the vehicle pursuit. For several minutes, Pizarro circled the area of Division Street and East Avenue R in the city of Palmdale. Deputies successfully deployed a spike strip on Pizarro's vehicle, puncturing both driver's side tires. At that point, the California Highway Patrol units terminated their vehicle pursuit. However, Pizarro continued driving through surface streets. 2 Sheriff's Patrol units re-engaged in the vehicle pursuit as they drove eastbound on East Avenue R toward 5th Street East behind Pizarro. At the direction of the Sheriff's helicopter unit, the deputies stopped their vehicles in the eastbound lanes of East Avenue R and awaited authorization to re-engage in the vehicle pursuit. Pizarro suddenly initiated a U-turn and drove at a high rate of speed westbound, directly at both Sheriff's Patrol units. The first unit was able to avoid being struck by quickly driving out of the path of Pizarro's vehicle. The second unit was unable to drive out of Pizarro's vehicle path, and the driver deputy discharged his firearm at Pizarro. Almost simultaneously, Pizarro collided head-on with that deputy's patrol vehicle, causing both vehicles' airbags to deploy. As a result of the collision, the driver deputy was injured and trapped inside the patrol vehicle. Believing Pizarro was going to ram the patrol vehicle a second time, he discharged his firearm again, and a second deputy-involved shooting occurred. The passenger deputy was also injured as a result of the collision, but was able to exit his patrol vehicle. Believing Pizarro was going to ram the patrol vehicle again, he discharged his firearm, and a third deputy-involved shooting occurred.
When it becomes northbound on...
And for Palmdale, watch primary units not to become involved in the pursuit.
Bardo, use the pursuit right now. He's westbound, Palmdale Boulevard, westbound Palmdale. He's ready to go back to the division.
Right here with the
Okay, sir, 13 boy, we were able to get a good spike strip on the suspect. His tires are flat. What's our call as far as re-engaging your pursuit?
Hey, 113 boy, go ahead and re-engage in pursuit.
Copy. I'm gonna get on.
George 1097. Updated 1020 for the vehicle arrow.
Down to R, division. Unit behind the suspect vehicle, drop out now. Okay, we can re-engage.
10 standing by.
Suspect vehicle, drop out now.
Our watch commander said to re-engage.
Drop out now.
We're waiting for confirmation.
All to re-engage, throw watch fire.
You ready to shoot him?
45 on the deputy. Suspect is around to the black. They need to notice place R. Both their vehicles facing west. Essentially right now, the audio car is head on.
Copy 247 on the deputy.
Stop.
Still
That's enough.
westbound on
That's enough.
Alright, let's back this up.
For now.
We're waiting for confirmation.
So let's pay attention to the left screen. Left screen only.
All to re-engage, throw watch fire.
You ready to shoot him?
Alright, so they recognize that the dude is coming towards them, and they're getting ready. Alright, so impact occurs and airbag goes off.
You ready to shoot him?
45 on the deputy.
Luckily, he did not lose his gun. Airbags come out super fast. I forget the exact speed that they come out, but it's like several miles per hour that these things burst out. They come out fucking quick, and if you're not careful, they can fuck you up. So if you've ever dealt with a vehicle crash scene and you're trying to help people out or whatever, there's been times where the people doing the rescues have been injured by an airbag that just that didn't go off in the crash, all of a sudden decided to go off in the crash now. They are powerful. I mean, they're powerful, but yet they're life-saving. So yes, they are powerful, but when they deploy, they prevent you from having the steering wheel become embedded in your chest, or they prevent your face smashing into the dashboard, windshield, whatever. So although they do save your life, they can also come out super fast. They can break your nose. They can knock your ass out if you get hit hard enough with it. And as you can see, it completely knocked his arm out of the way. And that's a thing to think about when shooting from your vehicle and another vehicle is coming at you to ram you. Your airbag may deploy when the collision occurs, and if your arm is extended out over the top of the airbag, or I'm sorry, the steering wheel, then when the airbag deploys, it's going to knock your arm out of the way. You're not going to resist that. I don't give a shit how fucking strong you are. You're not maintaining your grip and your hold the way it is. It's going to knock your arm out of the way. And if that happens, there is a possibility that it could knock the gun out of your hand. So that is something to think about. For whatever reason, he has decided to reload. He takes the magazine out of the gun and inserts a new one. So I suspect that he was attempting to fire again and was unable to. He is taking slow and deliberate fire. I suspect that he is focusing on one hole that he has already made and is trying to put all his other rounds through that same hole.
Stop! That's enough! That's enough! Hey, watch your crossfire! Watch your crossfire!
So the deputy that's in this driver's seat, he's kind of stuck where he's at. This driver's side door, he's unable to get it open because that front panel up there has probably been crushed back far enough to where it's impacted the panel of the door, and you're just not able to overcome that metal that's crushed back into it and just can't get it all the way open. That happens a lot in crashes.
The vehicle is westbound, facing westbound or...
So what is his remedy here? Well, he could take both feet, pivot a little bit, and use both feet, kind of like doing leg press, and force this door open. If that doesn't work, then his next option is to go over the middle console and go out the passenger door where he knows that his partner has gone out through. Or roll this window down or break this window and go crawling out that way. Those are the only two ways he's getting out of this vehicle.
998!
When it comes to vehicle tactics training, that's one thing you need to think about and should practice doing. You know, everyone wants to shoot through the fucking windshield. You know, they want to sit in that driver's seat, have that target in front of them, and they just want to fucking punch holes with that windshield. You know, they want to do the cool guy shit. They want to do the shooting from around the vehicle. They want to do the ballistics lab and you know, shoot the car and stuff. Well, they also need to be crawling out of the damn car itself as well. That's something that you need to practice doing when you do vehicle training, is exiting the vehicle in an unorthodox way. You know, sometimes that door is not going to open. You're going to have to crawl your ass out that window. Vehicle tactics classes can be a little difficult to put on. Number one, you know, unless you've got your own private range and you're you know, wanting to do that yourself, you're going to have to find another range to do it. And a lot of ranges are uncomfortable with it. They don't like doing it. So once you get over that hurdle, the next hurdle is getting a good vehicle. Obviously, the better pristine vehicles are going to cost more, so then that's going to dig into some profits potentially. Sometimes, you know, people will find junked out vehicles at a junkyard, something like that, and with that, all the stuff then it's already fucked up and broken anyway. It can be cheaper, but then you also lose some degree of learning benefits when the glass is already broken out of the vehicle. So it's good to do a vehicle that has the glass still intact in it and go over, before you start shooting the damn thing up, go over how to break glass and how to get out of the damn car. So that's where the little Rescue Me tools come into play, showing the benefits of having those staged inside the vehicle, whether you have it, if your car still uses an ignition key, having a Rescue Me hanging off that key ring so that if you need to, you can reach forward, pop that thing off, and then press it up against the corner of the window, bust glass, and then get out of the vehicle that way. Or in patrol vehicles, you could have a Rescue Me hanging from the spotlight, or you can have it clipped in through that special attachment to your seat belt, whatever. Showing people how to get out of the vehicle doing that. And then start, you know, doing the cool guy shit, shooting stuff up and everything. But you need to know how to get out of your vehicle if the door is inoperable. And when it comes to a patrol car, all this shit in the middle and then wearing all your stuff, it's not the easiest thing to do. You could try to start crawling over the middle console, and then the cord from your mobile radio gets wrapped around your taser, and now you're fucking anchored into the vehicle. You're stuck. You can't go anywhere because this damn cord's wrapped around a piece of your equipment. You get hung up on the laptop that's mounted there. Like, you bigger guy, it's hard to maneuver out. It's like, that's something that you want to do on the range under training. Figure that shit out then. You don't want to figure that shit out come real world. So for agencies out there that want to do this kind of training, you know, talk to admins, see about reserving a couple of the surplus vehicles and keeping those for training like this, instead of, you know, putting them out there at auction and trying to sell them and recover a couple dollars. take these surplus vehicles, put them on the range. If you got laptops that are broken, keep those. Put them in the vehicle. That's better realistic training. And beat up the surplus vehicles and get good training value out of them. Anyway, moving on. Still looking at the left screen here.
200 East Avenue, R, 200 East. Everybody watch your crossfire. Watch your crossfire.
998, 998.
Watch your crossfire. Watch your crossfire.
I'm stuck in my car! Pull me out, pull me out.
After the
Pull me out, pull me out.
So, yeah, you weren't really stuck in your car. You could have got out. But it's possible that he may not have gone through that stuff before in training and knew that that's what he could be doing. Alright, so let's back it all the way up again. Now we're going to focus on the right screen. Alright, looking at the right screen here.
You ready to shoot him?
45 deputies.
So airbag deploys.
Just around to the black.
So I don't know where that thing went, but notice this cord is draped over top of where the airbag's going to be coming out. So this thing's going to come out super fast. What's it going to do? Depending on how this cord is attached into this object, if it's just a simple plug it in, then hopefully it'll just rip it out of its socket. If it's hardwired into it, it's going to rip this damn thing off this windshield, and this thing is going to become a fucking projectile. It could theoretically be propelled into your fucking face at 60 miles per hour, or however fast these damn airbags deploy. You don't want something like this being embedded in your face. So when it comes to cords and stuff like this, you need to manage these cords better. Don't have them in front of the airbag deployment right there. That's no, you don't want that shit. Run this stuff down along the side right here and have it go up under the dash.
45 deputies. Suspect just around to the black. They need to know suspect R. Both their vehicles facing west. Potentially went up to the radio power head on.
Stop! That's enough! That's enough!
They're depleting gunpoint guns are facing south and southwest. The vehicle is disabled. Potentially head on ramming into a radio car.
Hey, watch your crossfire! Watch your crossfire! Watch your crossfire!
The vehicle is westbound, facing westbound R.
998, 998.
200 East Avenue R, 200 East. Everybody watch your crossfire. Watch your crossfire.
998, 998.
Watch your crossfire. Watch your crossfire.
I'm stuck in my car! Pull me out, pull me out.
Facing westbound.
after the third deputy involved.
So I don't know. I don't know what's going on with this guy, if he's freaking out some, but they come up and they start forcing his hand down.
Stuck in my car! Pull me out!
And then take his gun from him. So if he was like freaking out and stuff, I could see that being an okay option for safety and security reasons. But you don't need to be staying to the front of the line like this. You need to be taking this person who is now no longer able to defend themselves and get them further back down the line, going to the rear. Because you're in the front right there. If that dude comes out of the vehicle and starts fighting, you just took his fucking gun away from him. How's he going to defend himself? In the immediate aftermath of this happening, that's not the time to start taking the person's gun away from them. Tell them, hey, holster your gun, go over there, get behind that car. Something other than taking their gun away from them at the front of the fucking line. Like I'm not a big fan of what I'm seeing right here.
After the third deputy involved shooting, Pizarro remained in the driver's seat of his vehicle and appeared to be unconscious. Assisting deputies formed a tactical rescue team and approached Pizarro's vehicle. Deputies rescued Pizarro from his vehicle and rendered first aid until paramedics arrived. Los Angeles County Fire Department personnel arrived and treated Pizarro for minor injuries. Pizarro was transported by ambulance to a local hospital, where he was treated for non-life-threatening injuries and medically cleared for booking. Investigators have been unable to determine if Pizarro was struck by gunfire or if the minor injuries were sustained as a result of the head-on collision. Both deputies involved in the shooting were transported to a local hospital and treated for non-life-threatening injuries as a result of the traffic collision. The driver deputy sustained injuries throughout his body, including his neck and back. The passenger deputy sustained lower body injuries, including a broken right foot. There were no other persons injured during the incident. The victim's stolen vehicle was later recovered in the Rosamond area. Pizarro had previous convictions for sex-related offenses. At the time of this incident, he was on parole for a sex-related offense and was wearing...
On fucking parole for a sex-related offense. That's exactly what the fuck I was talking about in the last video I did. Shitheads like this out on parole. You know, none of this shit would have ever fucking happened if this motherfucker's ass was sitting in fucking prison where he belongs. Why are we giving parole to sex offenders? Why? Why are we giving parole to violent offenders? Fuck that. If the sentence calls for 15 years for a sex offense, then goddamn it, you're doing 15 fucking years, not a day less. And if you want to be a fucking dick while you're in prison, then we can extend that fucking time. All this shit fucking pisses me off.
And the ankle monitor as part of his condition.
Oh, hold on. Let's re-listen to this.
Convictions for sex. Stolen vehicle was later recovered in the Rosamond area. Pizarro had previous convictions for sex-related offenses. At the time of this incident, he was on parole for a sex-related offense and was wearing the ankle monitor as part of his conditions of parole.
Wearing an ankle monitor. A lot of fucking good that did. Oh my god, this pisses me the fuck off. I hate hearing about this fucking shit. I really do. Better watch what I say. So yeah, probation and parole. Let's listen a little bit more.
Subsequent to this incident, Pizarro was charged with assault with a deadly weapon on a peace officer, robbery, and vehicle theft. The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department has begun a parole.
Okay, so this dude's out on parole and is on ankle monitor. I highly doubt that this sex crime that he's committed is the first thing that he's ever fucking done in his life. I seriously doubt it. I would say that he's probably got multiple prior arrests and convictions in his life. But these dumbass, soft-ass fucking liberals are fucking shit up. These soft-ass liberal judges and these soft-ass liberal prosecutors and these soft-ass liberal fucking administrators within Department of Corrections and shit like that are creating an unsafe environment for the rest of us nice, law-abiding people. Somewhere within the criminal justice system, an administrator who has a lot of fucking weight, a lot of pull, can make executive level decisions to change policies and whatnot and influence laws, has the fucking mindset that this piece of shit motherfucker right here is a victim. Yeah, you heard that right. There are people out there who can influence policies and procedures and can influence certain laws who believe that fuckfaces like this are victims. And because they're victims, they need services instead of jail time. Oh. No. People like this don't need services. They need jail time. People like this need to be locked away in a cage for a very long time. People like this have shown that they cannot play well with others and that they are a danger to society. They are a clear and present danger. And people like this are not the only one who are a clear and present danger to society. These soft-ass, dumb, liberal motherfuckers who come up with this bullshit, they too are also a clear and present danger to society. Because their ignorant asses are the ones who put motherfuckers like this out on the street, on parole, with a fucking ankle monitor. When people talk about we need justice reform, you're damn right we need justice reform, but not the way these fucktards are talking about. We need to get hard on crime. Like, we need to make the criminals fucking fear the criminal justice system. They don't give a shit about it. They don't fear it. It's an annoyance to them, yeah. They don't like it. It's annoying. But they don't fear it. And that woman that he was dating for in a 1-week relationship, she probably had no idea about this dude's criminal background. Hell, she herself could have become one of his next sexual assault victims. And here's this dude out and about on ankle monitor. Ooh. And what I was going to go into earlier, talking about probation and parole. So, probation and parole is something that falls under the state's Department of Corrections, the people who run the state prisons, right? So, if you've never worked in a prison or never knew people who worked in a prison, then you really have no idea what I'm talking about. And this also includes people who work in jails too. Now, this does not mean that every single person who works in a jail or prison is like this. But within jails and prisons, you have a lot of people who are fucking stupid who work there and are worthless dumbasses who barely get by. But because they show up to work, they don't get fired. If you work in a prison, you work the floor, that's very grueling. It's a fucking meat grinder. It really is. Day in, day out, having to be around shitheads like this and listening to their bullshit fucking sob stories, listening to them fucking cuss you out and play the system and just get under your goddamn skin. There is a very high turnover rate when it comes to jails and prisons. Not a lot of people stay in the long run. It is mentally hell. It really is. Dealing with scum day in, day out, and just dealing with all that bullshit. Physically, the job is kind of easy until the high turnover rate comes into play, and your ass is working like 90 hours a fucking week because no one wants to work. There's fucking call-ins left and right, etc. So you can go and work a long ass time. Well, probation and parole is the nicer, cushy job within corrections. You're not having to sit inside this cell block being locked in a damn jail or prison for 8, 10, 12, 16 hours out of the fucking day, listening to shitheads like this say, CO, can I get some soap? CO, can I get a request form? CO, can I get a pencil? CO. That shit's fucking annoying. Instead, probation and parole gets to work in an office. They can go take an hour lunch if they want to. They don't have to do as much as what they would have to be doing in a prison. So, what does that mean? That generally means that lazy people gravitate towards that because they don't want to do any fucking work. It's a cushy job. It's easier, not easy, but easier than working in a prison. So people apply left and right for these positions. Some states will have done stuff to make it a little bit more difficult to get into that position. For example, here in Kentucky, to become probation and parole, you have to have a bachelor's degree. Doesn't matter what you have a bachelor's degree in. You can have a fucking bachelor's degree in 13th century fucking French basket weaving. Doesn't matter. But then you get eligible to become probation and parole. Reason being is because a lot of your prison officers, they don't have college degrees. When you look at the majority of the people who work in corrections, they work the floor, they don't have educations. At most, they have a high school education. They don't have they don't have any extra education. They don't have any college or anything like that. Multiple reasons going into that, but that's just the way it is. And so there's some places that have put these extra little hoops to jump through to make it harder to get into. Other states have not. So they still get, the same type of lazy asshole who'd be working in the floor, letting the inmates do whatever they do, go into the probation, and they still bring on that same mindset. They just let them do what the fuck they want to do. Don't cause them any problems, won't cause any problems, and, we'll get along. And then there are people who apply and get into these positions who think they're going to come in and do something really great. They're going to make a difference. I'm probation and parole. I can work with them. They're outside the prison thing. I can work with them and help them get on that right path and make things right with them. It's great to have, a great positive outlook in life and want to do good and help people and everything. But the reality of the matter is the majority of these fucking assholes can't be helped. They really can't. They are repeat offenders, and they are lifelong offenders. People like this will be involved in the system well into their elderly years, well into their 50s, 60s. It's really when they become so fucking geriatric that they can't be as mobile that's when you start seeing them not being as criminal as they are at a younger age. It's kind of hard to run away from the police when you're 70 years old. You just can't move very fast. It's also very hard to gangbang out in the streets when you're 70 fucking years old. You just can't move as fast as the 20-year-olds. So that's when you really start seeing a decrease in crimes being committed by people like this, is when they get really fucking old. They just can't fucking do the shit anymore physically. They still want to. They still got that mindset. They're still assholes. They just can't do a lot of that shit and get away with it anymore. So they kind of slow their roll for a little bit. But other than that, this guy, I don't know how old he is, but he's going to be doing shit like this for years. For years. So it's nice that there's some people who get into that line of work with the mindset of, I'm going to help people, I'm going to get them on their path, blah, blah, blah. But that's where they stay at. There is no, okay, well, you betrayed me, well, you did wrong, now it's consequence time. These people are consistently stuck in, I want to help, I want to help, I want to help. And they don't do the things that they need to do to help the community out. They think they're helping these individuals by giving them, chance after chance after chance. Oh, you missed your appointment to come in for the drug test. Okay, that's fine. Technically, that's a mark on you, but I'll let this one slide. Come in 2 days from now. I got some free time then we can do it. Oh, you missed this one because you was traffic. Oh, that's fine. We'll push it back. No problem. No, that's not fucking helping the community at all. This motherfucker's just stalling on a drug test, hoping that by the time they finally come in to piss, their shit's going to be clear. Nothing's going to be in it. So there are people who work in probation and parole who give offenders chance after chance after chance after chance after chance after chance before they ever finally do anything. And sometimes they don't even initiate that shit on their own. They're told by a supervisor that they have to fucking do something about it. There are people who work in probation and parole who are extremely soft and will never press the issue on anything. They could literally go into a house to do a visit, see drugs laying out in the open, but because they're by themselves and there's 4 other fucking dudes in there, they're going to tuck tail, be a little bitch, and not say anything about it and walk back out like nothing ever happened. When it comes to corrections, there's a lot of problems. And like I said, unless you've ever worked in the correction side or have studied it and been around a lot of people who worked on the correction side, you're not really going to fully understand what I'm talking about. There's a lot of people who work in that profession who do not need to be working there, and there's a lot of silly shit that goes on in that profession that does not need to be going on, and shit needs to be changed. So we've got police departments that do pretty good jobs. Now, I'm not saying all police departments are 100% great or anything like that. There's some officers out there who are lazy ass pieces of shit that don't do anything, avoid calls and whatnot. Same type of people that you would find the lazy ones within jails. They just got lucky and was able to be hired by a police agency, but they're still the same caliber as some of the dumbasses that work in the private security industry or work in corrections. But by and large, you see more of that within the correction side. Like if you go do a Google search for prison officials having sexual relations with inmates, you're going to find a lot of fucking articles on that. You're going to find a lot of articles where some corrections officer had sex with an inmate. You're going to find a lot of articles where a corrections officer intentionally brought drugs or other contraband into the facility to give to an inmate. The thing from what was it? It was either Georgia or Alabama. The corrections woman that fell in love with the inmate who was a convicted murderer, and broke him out of prison, or broke him out of that jail that they were in, and went on a road trip with them, and then they got caught up to by the marshals and crashed, and then she shot herself. I can't remember her name, like Whitehead or something like that. That kind of shit. Like, you find articles like that left and right of just stupid fuckery. I mean, and that's not just within the jails and prisons. You also find a lot of articles of very incompetent probation and parole people who are doing the same kind of shit, having sexual relations with the person they're supposed to be watching. So the corrections side, when it comes to probation and parole, doesn't have the greatest scorecard, so to speak. Doesn't have the greatest report card. There's a lot of deficiencies there, and I would personally like to see probation and parole become its own entity outside of Department of Corrections, because I just think there's too much collusion there, too much drawing from the same type of people to put in those roles than what there needs to be. I think it needs to be a separate entity that needs to act similar to a state police agency. So, for example, here in Kentucky, probation and parole falls under the Kentucky Department of Corrections. Some areas do better than others. There's also a managerial kind of thing, a regional thing. So some regions have good supervisors, some do not. But overall, the entire Department of Corrections, Probation, and Parole just doesn't have the greatest reputation, in my opinion. They don't have the most solid people. Not saying all of them are like that. There are some who are solid at what they do, but overall, not all of them are. If say, for example, Kentucky State Police was to take over those responsibilities and they were the ones to start performing those duties, shit would be a lot fucking different. Oh, man. Oh man, shit would be so fucking different. Like, they would be going in and doing fucking house visits on the regular. They would be going in, kicking in fucking doors on people who are non-compliant and dragging their ass to jail and putting them in before the judge. They would be going hard at it. No doubt whatsoever in my mind about it. But because the probation and parole falls under the Department of Corrections, there's a lot looser and softer people within that sector. So the problems are not going to improve until the hierarchy stuff changes, until you change who's responsible for this stuff and put it under a different entity, or they become their own entities, and you put fucking meat eaters in those leadership positions. Because unfortunately, there's too many fucking vegans, so to speak, within the Department of Corrections, and probation and parole just, in a lot of places, does not have the teeth for it. Anyway, that kind of got into a long rant. Not much else to say about this video. If you like what you hear and see, go ahead and give me a like and a share. If you have not already, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more Monday quarterback videos. Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching.